Hey guys, how you doing? Aleya here. A quick video to talk about false equivalencies. I think in terms of me actually becoming really aware and delving into the topic with the right viewing lens on when it comes to inequality in the world, it has been to learn the true meaning of that logical fallacy. False equivalency means that because you see that some things are similar, then you presume that they are similar in all ways. So, for example, like a specific event I really remember that like really upset me, and then now that I'm thinking about it, like I'd be told the other side of the issue is that I was watching the Grammys and like they were complaining about people appropriating gospel musicians, and I was just like why does that bother you? Like, would you prefer them not to interact with gospel musicians at all? Like, what are you really getting at? Like, how is the right way to approach a gospel musician when you're talking about this cultural appropriation thing? Like, I don't understand. How would you ever be happy? Because if they ignored gospel music, then you'd be like saying, oh, they don't appreciate us. And then if they do use gospel musicians who are actually, like professionals and whatever, and they hire them, they're also saying that they're wearing them as accessories. So, like, how is the way that would be acceptable to use? And then I said, why do you give Pharrell Williams a pass? And they said, because Pharrell is black. But I'm like, he's using them too. He doesn't go to church. I'm sure he doesn't go to church and is like, he's not up in the church all the days. So, like, he's also making use of gospel music for, accessorizing. But when it comes to cultural appropriation on all these conversations, honestly, what people are really talking about is the fact that there is going to be a clear winner. If you have two people doing the same thing, and one of them looks a little bit different and a little bit more palatable and a little bit more interesting because it's a white person in a black space, they're going to be, first of all, more attention grabbing. Second of all, they're just going to get more praise and more money and more financial stability out of it. So when we talk about Iguazuzu or Diplo profiting off of Jamaican music and Caribbean beats and Afro beats, and Miley Virus getting all kinds of awards because she twerked and she invented it, obviously. This is what we're talking about. Like, we're just talking about the fact that these people are going to laugh all the way to the bank, but the people who actually create these things, when they go on a public stage, they're not given as much credence, they're not given as much validity because people cannot relate to them, because people don't empathize with black people as much as they empathize with other people of their own cultures. And that's scientific. That's something people are still in the process of proving, but they have pretty good evidence to that fact. Like, people's mirror neurons don't fire off as much for people who are outside of their race. When it comes to white people, they don't fire off for other people, and mirror neurons are central to empathy. So literally, because white people are fed like stereotypes all day long from birth, and these ideas that are reductive of black people's humanity, they are then indoctrinated with the idea, and plus they see inequality throughout society and they have to find a way to rationalize it. So they develop racial bias, and they literally have a neurological response that is different when it comes to black people and brown people as compared to other white people. Their brains recognize humans better when they look like them. So, given that we have literal, neurological, social, political, economic realities, we can't raise false equivalencies and say, oh, but we're all the same. Yes, we are all the same, but not in this context. And this is the context we have to navigate. So in the same way that, like, actually, theoretically speaking, I'm an agnostic, you know, I don't know what could be out there, but in my day-to-day life, I'm not acting as if I think that there's something that's going to come and get me. I'm not acting as if I'm expecting these things. I'm not praying, I'm not going to church, I'm not doing these things because in my day-to-day life, I have to presume certain things in order to go about making decisions. So, as much as I'm theoretically agnostic, in the day-to-day life, I cannot presume these things, you know? And it's the same thing when it comes to being pro-black or being like very actively fighting to dismantle white supremacy, because you cannot presume equivalencies that are false. Yes, we are all equal when it comes to nature, but we are not treated equal in the society, and so you need to legislate accordingly. You need to inform yourself accordingly. You need to check for your biases accordingly. You need to do a lot of work internally, first of all, and in your social group, second of all, before, you can even like really say, yeah, we're all the same. You have to really check for a lot of things. And so when people have work to do, like people do have work to do, like when it comes to black people, our work is to make sure to know our worth, know our potential, know our barriers that we face, and work on dismantling them however we can by uplifting one another and helping build economic power to eventually dismantle capitalistic damages, right? When it comes to white people, your basic job is to work on dismantling white supremacy within your personal life and within your social groups. And you can carry that out in many different ways, and you can even go bigger. But the very least you can do is to make sure that you know that you're actually being a good person. So, yeah, false equivalencies are what's a big barrier for people to understanding the reality of how things are going, because they talk in ideals instead of talking about what actually is. Like a motherfucker, like a. All right, so that's today. Bye. Sorry for chewing gum. Oh, I'm so awful. I'm so awful. Ah.